Here is the news at 4 first. The highlights. Lagos State's governor partners joint task board to encourage new revenue generation drive. Federal government calls for calm as aviation unions threaten protest. On the foreign scene, World Health Organization decries rising infections amid humanitarian crisis in Sudan. In sport, Super Falcons retains 36th spot globally, remains first in Africa in FIFA's latest ranking. Now the details. I am Taiwo Baruwa. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has agreed to partner the Joint Tax Board (JTB) to encourage his counterpart in other states to embrace new revenue generation drive across the country for the overall benefit of residents. Governor Sanwo-Olu made this pledge when he received the Executive Secretary of the Joint Task Board, Olusegun Adesokun, and the management team on a courtesy visit at Lagos House, Ikeja. The governor informed the delegation about the various steps Lagos has taken in his direction and also the recently launched Lagos Revenue Portal to encourage business-friendly environment. Earlier, Executive Secretary of the Joint Tax Board, Olusegun Adesokun, commended the Lagos State government for professionalism of the state revenue generating authority and all the administration's investment and interventions in health, education, transportation, infrastructural renewal, and security. The Joint Tax Board Executive Secretary had earlier called for consistency in the leadership of tax revenue generating authorities across the country and urged Governor Sanwo-Olu to champion the agenda among his colleagues in other states for overall benefit of Nigerians. Lagos State Government, through the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, has announced commencement of verification and completeness of records and properties managed by Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency, LASURA. In a statement, General Manager LASURA Oladimeji Animashaun called for the submission of development lease agreements between LASURA and lessees, developers, and agent for verification and general public, particularly allottees of LASURA properties, to submit their document with the agency for verification and completeness of records. Animashaun said the document should be addressed and delivered to the Office of the Permanent Secretary, Urban Development, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Alausa, Secretariat, Alaus, Ikeja, and a copy be submitted at the Office of the General Manager of LASURA at PWD, Old Secretariat of Obakinjo Biwe, Ikeja. He added that those concerned have till Wednesday, 11th of September, as failure to comply with the content of the notice may warrant revocation of the lease agreement by the agency. Lagos State government has announced traffic diversion at Ikeja along bus stop between Ilezik and Corn Oil Petrol Station on Oshiri bound lane from Saturday 17th to Sunday 18th of August between the hours of 12 midnight and 4 a.m. daily to carry out the demolition of the old pedestrian bridge safely. Commissioner for Transportation Oluwaseun Oshiemi noted that following the diversion from Ilezik bus stop to Corn Oil petrol filling station on the Oshodi bound lane of the road, only one lane will be available to motorists to ensure safety. Oshiemi explained that the traffic diversion will not affect motorists on the Dr. Mwabuli bound side of the road during the course of the demolition. He called for the cooperation of the motoring public, adding that the lanes will be cordoned off with jersey barriers and protective net to keep motorists and commuters safe during the period of demolition, while traffic personnel will be on ground. Now to the rest of the stories. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has appealed to the workers for calm, promising that the federal government will find a lasting solution that balances both the fiscal needs of the government and the operational requirement of the aviation agencies. Keyamo made the appeal following the notice of an impending protest by the aviation unions in the country due to the continuous deduction of 50% of revenue of the federal government agencies managing and regulating the aviation industry. To also immediately quell the tension and avoid the wrath of industrial action, he assured the unions that President Bola Tinubu is concerned about the issues in the aviation sector, stressing that the 50% deduction issue will be resolved as a matter of urgency. The federal government says legal and diplomatic efforts are ongoing to recover some seized presidential jets. Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, stated this in a statement describing as inappropriate court orders against 3 presidential aircraft undergoing routine maintenance in France. He said the federal government became aware of the interim attachment of the aircraft on Wednesday, August 14. According to Fagbemi, the attachment was made under ex parte orders issued by the Judicial Court of Paris at the instance of a Chinese company seeking to enforce a final award granted in its favor against one of Nigeria's subnationals, Ogun State. He noted that while further actions are being put in place to resolve the entire dispute through available legal means, the government's firm position remained that the aircraft in question are sovereign assets used solely for sovereign purposes and are therefore immune for such attachment. In foreign news, the World Health Organization, WHO, says the humanitarian crisis caused by the civil war in Sudan has exacerbated infections, including cholera, which has killed more than 300 people. WHO epidemiologist Margaret Harris said 11,327 cholera cases and 316 deaths had been reported, while dengue fever and meningitis infections are also on the rise. Harris said there are chances of having more cases than have been reported. According to the WHO, the recent outbreaks of cholera have also been more deadly, with fatality rates being the highest recorded in more than a decade. In sport now, Nigeria's senior women's football team, the Super Falcons, has retained 36th position in the latest global ranking by the Federation International de Football Association, FIFA. The Falcons also maintained their position as the top-ranked women's football team in Africa, adding to the ranking released today. This ranking follows the team's disappointing performance at the recently concluded Women's Summer Olympics football event in Paris, France. The Falcons failed to progress to the quarterfinals after suffering 3 consecutive defeats, losing 1-0 to Brazil and Spain, and a heavy 3-1 defeat to Japan, finishing at the bottom of Group C. And that's it on the news at 4, but just before we go, slow down at road junctions, intersections, and pedestrian crossings. You can follow us and like all the various social media platforms. X at Traffic Radio 961. Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website, www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration initiated 500 hectares rice farm technology intervention project? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has agreed to partner the Joint Tax Board, JTB, to encourage his counterpart in Odo State to embrace a new revenue generation drive across the country for the overall benefit of residents. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo has appealed to the workers for calm, promising that the federal government will find a lasting solution that balances both the fiscal needs of the government and the operational requirement of the aviation agencies. We also told you that the World Health Organization, WHO, has confirmed that the humanitarian crisis caused by the civil war in Sudan has exacerbated infections, including cholera, which has killed more than 300 people. Finally, sport Nigeria's senior women's football team, the Super Falcons, has retained its 36th position in the latest global ranking by the Federation International Day Football Association, FIFA. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Adewale Oluporoku. I am Taiwo Baruwa. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon and welcome to the return trip.